Okay, so in this video, I'm going to tell you why the globalists do not want peace in Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you what you want to own in the event that peace does break out in Ukraine. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the globalists are panicking that there might actually be a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. They do not want the war in Ukraine to end. As I've been telling you now since the start of that war, this has not been about democracy and it's not been about borders. This has been a massive money laundering operation. A lot of people have gotten rich off of this war. Now, Europe, they have spent virtually nothing on their defense. They've been depending on America to protect them. But now, all of a sudden, when their economies are in the tank, they're on a big push to rearm Europe. I mean, in case you missed it, the president of the EU, van der Leyen, what a disgrace. She just announced that the European Union is going to make a big push to rearm Europe.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. I have outlined in this letter to the leaders the Rearm Europe plan.
Okay, so I love geopolitics, but let's try to cut to the chase here, okay? Because I know your YouTube audience out there, you don't like to sit around for very long. So let's get right to the point. What do you want to own in the event that peace does actually break out in Europe? Well, I think that one of the first beneficiaries of peace in Ukraine is going to be gold. Please forgive me if you can't, pardon, the lighting there. So why would gold be a beneficiary of peace breaking out? Well, let's talk about that for a hot second. Okay, so when the world is full of chaos and uncertainty, there's always been one asset that always stood the test of time, and that was gold. That was the one asset people always flocked to in times of uncertainty. But here's the twist in this situation, okay? While most people think that gold only thrives on conflict, today I'm going to tell you why peace, yes, peace, especially in Ukraine, just might make gold soar to new highs. Okay, so yeah, traditionally in times of war, people have flocked to gold. Gold has always been the ultimate safe haven. It's reliable, it's tangible, and it's universally trusted, okay? But when peace talks begin and conflicts start cooling down, people often assume a gold moment has passed. But in this situation, that might be the exact wrong conclusion. If peace does break out in Ukraine, it would not just end the suffering. It would also trigger massive economic shifts. I mean, amongst other things, there would be a reopening of Eastern European markets, there would be stabilization of energy prices, and there would be a restoration of global trade routes. So this kind of geopolitical certainty, it would potentially unleash an economic surge. And that would lead to an increased demand for hard assets. Okay, so I want to remind you something here, because it's kind of counterintuitive. When the world is prosperous, okay, and people are making a lot more money and business is booming, it creates what's known as inflation. And what has been the ultimate inflation hedge? Gold. I mean, what would happen if there was an actual easing of the sanctions in Russia? Now, listen, Russia has fared very well in the face of all these sanctions. I mean, Russia's GDP as of today stands at about 3%. It is the strongest GDP of all developed countries.
Now, Russia is the most sanctioned country in the world, and yet this year its economy is set to grow faster than all advanced economies, according to the International Monetary Fund.
So the economy is going to be top of the list. We'll hear a lot about the economy, and certainly the Russian authorities are trying to use this year's event, this year's forum, to say, look, we know we're heavily sanctioned by the West, but there are plenty of other regions and countries in the world ready to do business with Russia. So
Russia has not suffered economically that much by this war. Now, granted, it's a wartime economy. They spent a lot of money, on their military because of all of this. But so what? The result is the same. Their GDP is strong. But what would happen if these sanctions actually get relieved a little bit and they start doing business with the West? I mean, hell, Russia might be a good place to invest in. I mean, but Russia doesn't need the West, okay? It's doing just fine because it has plenty of other customers. They are one of the top leaders in the BRICS alliance, right? So my argument here is, first of all, the neocons and the elites and the globalists because they've been using this war to fund their pet projects. And they've been using it as an excuse to tap the assets of their citizens. I mean, listen, they look at Russia and they saw that Russia's GDP is strong largely because it's a war-based economy. And they're thinking, well, hey, maybe we should try that. Maybe we should spend money on military and boost our economies. Okay, I think that's what's going on here. These people are looking at Russia and saying, hey, we should be doing that too. Why should Russia just get rich on war? We can get rich on war too. But they can't sell the idea of spending money on rearming Europe if there's not a war that they can point to and scare people about. So they don't want the war in Ukraine to end because that is their bogeyman. That is their selling point. Their argument to their citizens is, no, we have to spend this money on our defense because of evil Russia. That's the argument they're making. So if peace breaks out, they don't have that argument anymore. Okay, so we talk about gold as one asset that you could play in the event of peace breaking out. And what's the other asset? It's Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is actually an inflation fighter, and Bitcoin is referred to largely these days as digital gold, right? So just like people will be turning to gold as an inflation hedge, people will also be turning toward Bitcoin as an inflation hedge. And for that matter, I think you can throw silver into the mix too. So gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So remember the mantra on my channel, right? Get your money out of the bank, acquire gold and silver, and establish streams of passive recurring income. And if you want to learn about some of those programs, send me an email and I'll fill you in on some of the programs that we are doing in my Hey Ed WhatsApp group. And if you'd like to join the Hey Ed WhatsApp group, again, shoot me an email. I'll send you a link you can join. It's free. Please like and subscribe. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.